The hard truth about Canada, in 2025 something is deeply wrong with Canada. For years, it was known as one of the best places to live, safe, prosperous, and full of opportunity. People from all over the world dreamed of moving here, building a better life, and securing their future. But today, that dream is slipping away. If you live in Canada, you already know what I'm talking about. Everything is more expensive, from rent and groceries to transportation and basic utilities. People who used to live comfortably are now struggling just to survive. And if you're not feeling the squeeze yet, chances are you know someone who is. The statistics are shocking. Over 2 million Canadians had to rely on food banks in a single month, a record-breaking number. Rent prices in major cities have jumped over 25% per year, making it nearly impossible for young people to afford a home. The cost of groceries, gas, and utilities has skyrocketed, pushing even middle-class families toward financial ruin. And perhaps most alarming of all, crime is rising, fueled by economic despair and growing frustration. So what's really going on? Why is Canada, one of the wealthiest nations in the world, suddenly becoming unlivable for so many people? Before we break it down, take a second to like this video and subscribe, because the more people see this, the more attention we can bring to these issues. The answer isn't simple. This isn't just one crisis. It's a perfect storm of 3 interconnected disasters. A housing crisis that has made home ownership a fantasy for most Canadians. A cost of living crisis where wages simply aren't keeping up. An immigration crisis that is pushing Canada's infrastructure to the breaking point. It wasn't always this way. Something changed. And to understand how we got here, we need to go back. The rise and fall of Trudeau's Canada. In 2015, Justin Trudeau became the golden boy of Canadian politics. His campaign was built on hope, optimism, and big promises. The media loved him, and his approval ratings were the second highest in Canadian history for a new Prime Minister. For many, he symbolized a fresh start. His leadership was supposed to bring economic prosperity, affordable housing, and a compassionate immigration policy that strengthened the country. But fast forward 8 years and Canada is almost unrecognizable. Today, Trudeau's approval ratings have plummeted. The very people who once supported him are now calling for a change. And it's not just political drama. It's because life for everyday Canadians has become significantly harder under his leadership. Let's break down exactly how these crises unfolded. The housing crisis, why rent and home prices are out of control. Buying a home in Canada used to be a reasonable goal. It wasn't easy, but if you worked hard and saved, you could eventually own a place. Now, even the top 10% of earners in Canada are struggling to buy a home in major cities. Toronto and Vancouver, the epicenter of the crisis. In Toronto, a two-bedroom apartment that cost $2,400 per month in 2022, $3,300, a 25% yearly increase. In Vancouver, home prices have risen so high that a household needs to make 3 times the median income just to qualify for a mortgage. Across most major cities, renters now need to earn at least double the minimum wage just to afford a 1-bedroom apartment. And it's not just a big city problem. Even smaller cities like Calgary, Halifax, and Ottawa are experiencing record rent increases, making housing unaffordable nationwide. How did this happen? There are 2 major factors. 1. A lack of housing supply. Canada simply hasn't built enough homes to meet demand. Over the past decade, housing construction hasn't kept up with population growth, creating a supply and demand imbalance that has driven prices through the roof. 2. Record high immigration without infrastructure. In just a few years, Canada has taken in an unprecedented number of immigrants, but without the housing or infrastructure to support them. This isn't about blaming immigrants. It's about bad planning by the government. Instead of preparing for population growth, they allowed millions of new people to enter the country without ensuring there were enough homes for everyone. As a result, housing has become a luxury, and millions of Canadians are now renters for life. And speaking of financial struggles, the cost of living crisis, why Canadians can't afford basic necessities. For decades, Canada was seen as a safe, stable place where people could build a good life. But now, it's one of the most expensive countries in the world, and wages aren't keeping up. The reality of daily life in Canada today. Groceries are 20 to 30% more expensive than just a few years ago. Gasoline costs have surged, making transportation more expensive. Utilities and energy bills are at record highs, making it harder to heat homes in the winter. The national debt has exploded, leading to even higher inflation. If any of this sounds familiar, drop a comment below, because people outside of Canada need to understand just how bad things have gotten. Is there any hope for Canada? Can Canada fix these crises before it's too late? It won't be easy, but there are solutions. Massive investment in housing construction to lower prices. Economic reforms to help people afford basic necessities. Better immigration planning to ensure newcomers can thrive. But will the government actually take action? Or are we watching Canada slowly collapse under its own weight? One thing is certain. This isn't the Canada people once knew. If change doesn't happen soon, life here will only get harder. The question is, how much worse will it get before something is done? If you found this eye-opening, hit the like button. It helps spread the message. And if you want to stay updated on Canada's future, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.